Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to create your very own in-demand virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
So welcome to episode 1. Now, Sam, what the heck is a virtual assistant?
Oh my goodness, it's the big question, isn't it? It's the question that I think is probably the most asked whether you're in the playground waiting to pick up your kids, or you're in the supermarket and catch up with someone that's, what are you doing now? You're a what? You're a virtual assistant? What the heck's that? It can be really confusing for a number of reasons. I think virtual assistants have evolved over the years.
Yeah.
So what we are now today in 2020 isn't necessarily what a traditional virtual assistant was 10 years ago. There's that to consider. But the virtual assistant term is, for me, I think it's a really big umbrella term. So it actually covers a lot of different individual virtual assistants that offer a heck of a lot of different services.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the basis of it is that a virtual assistant is someone who most often would work from home and work online or remotely and have different clients. So it might be business owners or types of businesses that they look after in terms of doing tasks for them over the internet.
Yeah.
The basis of it.
Yeah, and those tasks kind of roughly fall into 3 categories, don't they?
Yeah.
You've got your administrative tasks, your technical tasks, and then your more creative tasks.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's no real definition of exactly what a virtual assistant does. It all depends on, what your specialties or your experience are as a virtual assistant as to what services you would offer businesses. So the technical stuff, it could be web design. It could be just maintaining websites and doing updates. It could be like adding products into an online store. It could be the IT side of things. So like setting up another email address, or, managing the G Suite account, or filing and setting up systems and processes and that sort of stuff. All falls under that technical. So
yeah, creative. Now that's where I get excited. I love the creative side of the business. So you're looking at branding, making things look pretty is kind of the way I like to describe it. Anything that needs to kind of really pack a punch. If somebody's a document, an ebook, a logo, a flyer,
content, like post content.
Absolutely. Like even, content creation, blog writing, could go on.
Copywriting. Yeah. So many things can fall under the creative. And then we've got the administration. So often we see that someone who has like an admin or virtual, an executive assistant or personal assistant type background can transfer those skills to become a virtual personal assistant or a virtual administrator or a virtual assistant. They can all be the same thing, but different in terms of what type of tasks someone is undertaking.
Yeah. And like a lot of virtual, or what traditionally is a virtual assistant, even now you don't even call them virtual assistants. That they've kind of branded themselves to suit the niche or speciality that they've decided to work on. So freelance business support, I see that pop up. Virtual personal assistant is another one. There's loads of different options.
Yeah, so I suppose if you are thinking about becoming a virtual assistant, those who have skills and experience in one of the areas that we might have mentioned just now, that by having those skills, that's absolutely possible for you then to be doing that type of work for someone online. So yeah, great candidate to become a virtual assistant if you've got any of those skills that we mentioned, or you've had that executive assistant type background is the one that we see often. And some of the other things that can fall under the administration sort of umbrella too is like managing an inbox for someone, making bookings, managing someone's calendar. And I think, Sam, the reason why it's so possible to become a virtual assistant, in 2020 is because of technology. It's just allowed us to, a client could just give you the login and password for their Office 365 account. You log into it and you can start managing their inbox. Like, it can really be that simple.
Oh, yeah. So simple, so simple. And also from, for somebody that's thinking about becoming a virtual assistant, it's a really low entry point, isn't it? You can
Mm.
start off really simply with the bare minimum. I'm talking a mobile phone, a laptop, and a couple of tech tools, and
Yeah.
boom, you can go for it. If you've got the experience and you've already maybe
Mm.
got some connections in your network already, that's all you need. It really is. It's at such a low entry point. You
Yeah.
can see why it's something that's becoming more and more popular.
Absolutely, because we're really seeing, so we have some networking or network groups, some Facebook groups, some communities that we look after. And yeah, we're really seeing a lot of new virtual assistants coming on board
Mm,
now. But don't let that put you off, because there are millions of businesses all around the world, and there's enough clients to go around for anyone wanting to be a virtual assistant. But the industry is really booming at the moment. And we're recording this now at the end of May. And so in New Zealand, we're coming out of so we're out of lockdown now with the global pandemic that's been going on. And, this seen two reasons why the industry is really booming at the moment. And in my VA business, we're seeing tons of leads coming in at the moment. And I know for you, Sam, it's the
mm,
same thing where, yes, we lost some clients as we went into lockdown, but coming out, we now are seeing that there's two reasons. One is that everyone now can see how possible it is to have team members who work remotely. And
yeah.
they've realized that with just utilizing some communication tools and other tech, there are absolutely sort of no excuses now for people to use when they are considering getting some support for their business. They used to say, "Oh, but I really need someone, in my office next to me." That excuse is
Ugh.
now gone. Yeah, it's just you can't
Oh,
have that excuse anymore.
Joe, I am so relieved that I have not seen that pop up in an online networking group for weeks. Because
Yeah.
I'd see it probably once a week. Someone would say, "Hey, I need help with this." I don't think I can work with a virtual assistant though. So I'm not looking for a virtual assistant. I'm looking for somebody else that can sit beside me. And
Yeah.
every time I would see those kind of comments pop up, I just want to pull out my hair. I just want to
Mhm.
reach through the screen and grab them and shake them, say, "It's easy. It's easy. You
Mm.
just need to try it." And as you said, if one thing has come out of the COVID-19 and everyone having to work at home if they can, is that it's opened people's eyes to the
Mm.
fact that working remotely, it can be done. If you've got the tech set up and you work on your communication, it
Mm.
can absolutely be done, and it can be done really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, more and more businesses are now realizing that a virtual assistant is a great option for them to get the support that they need. They no
Mhm.
longer have that excuse. They've seen how well it's working. And now some businesses who have had to let employees go, or, they're wanting to grow, but they're nervous about hiring employees, a
Mm.
virtual assistant, which is essentially like having a contractor, is a lot less risky. And it's a lot easier to get started. All the benefits of hiring a virtual assistant are just there, right there for people to now like grab a hold of. So, yeah,
Mm.
the finding other ways that they can get the support they need without hiring employees, which is fantastic for virtual assistants.
Oh, it is. Now, I think we are definitely on the cusp of a boom. As you said, we're seeing it already the last couple of weeks, just the level inquiries that our individual
Yeah,
businesses have seen, and those other VAs in our community. And I think the two kind of key words for me, and I know I've heard you kind of use these a lot as well, is the fact that virtual assistants are flexible
yeah,
and scalable.
yeah.
And those two things are what businesses, other small to medium sized businesses, really need right now. As you
Mm,
said, a lot of them, job losses, they're not going to be in a hurry to hire those full time staff.
that's right.
Financially, they might just not be able to afford to. They might just be really wary about it. We just don't know we're still in uncertain times to a certain degree, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. And yeah, so I would say that we're getting 2 to 3 inquiries a day about, hiring a virtual assistant and how it works and that sort of thing. So yeah, I feel like there's been a shift, especially in New Zealand, where businesses are now wanting to get back into it. They're wanting to grow, they're wanting the
Mm.
support so that they can grow, because yeah, it's impossible for someone to grow a really successful business on their own without any support at all, which is great for those wanting to be a virtual assistant. Yeah.
Absolutely.
thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the Savvy School website to check out the amazing Members Club and find more free resources.
You can find us at savvyschool.co.nz.